Well, here we are again. We're back to with End of the Fray, guys. We're in this season 3. This 4 parts of season 3. We're going to talk a little bit differently today than we did in the first 3. I want to talk about outreach in the digital space. If you're my age, and I know I'm going to kind of reveal myself, we remember when MySpace started, and I know some of you are going, what is MySpace? You didn't miss a whole lot, but then after MySpace, there was Facebook, and if you're of my generation, let's be honest, that's where most of us stopped, was Facebook, and now we live stream our services on Facebook, and we think we're doing a good thing. We're reaching the digital space. But there is so much more than just that, because some of us, maybe we've expanded and now we're live streaming on YouTube as well. And that's good, but even in that we're missing so many opportunities. Now there's X, used to be Twitter, there's Instagram, TikTok, not to mention on Facebook we can use Reels, YouTube Shorts, and there's even virtual reality spaces that we can get into as another way to take the message beyond the 4 walls of our church, guys. That's what this is all about, is getting the message of the gospel outside of our church. It's wonderful when people come to church and we get excited about first-time guests. But what about those people that would never set foot in one of our buildings unless we give them a reason to? So this is where the digital space can come in. I understand that some of these platforms may be controversial because of who owns them or other things, but that's no reason for us to avoid them. Think about the digital space as you would any other mission field. We need to go where the people are. We need to, and that's where they are. They're in these digital spaces. They're on TikTok. They're on YouTube, they're on Instagram, they're on X, but the format's a little bit different. And I think the reason some of us are afraid to go there is because we don't understand it. There's a learning curve. We have to learn to use them. Now, I want to address the big objection that I've heard from several people in having this conversation one-on-one. And that's that there's just a lot of garbage on some of these platforms, and Christ followers should not be supporting those platforms because of that. Well, there's a lot of garbage on cable TV, and I see church services on TV all the time. There's a lot of garbage that's transmitted over the radio waves, yet churches have no problems buying airtime on radio stations to broadcast their message that way. So why would we treat the digital space differently? There's a lot of garbage on the internet, but I'm pretty sure if you're a church leader or if you're a church member, your church has a website, because the internet's the first place people go now when looking for a church. They Google, churches near me. That is a very common Google search, and that's where people start. And now with these digital spaces, not only do they start there, they want to research your church before they show up. So we have to be willing to go to where the people are, get into these spaces. Let me just put it in perspective for you a little bit. Our campus where I speak on a regular basis, we have anywhere from 50 to 70 people on a Sunday. That's a good number. I'm okay with that. But here's the thing: through the use of the social media platforms that I use, I can reach 1,500 to 2,000 additional people in a week with the message of the gospel. So why would I not take advantage of that just because there might be some objectionable material on there somewhere? You learn these things. You can actually weed that out so that you're not confronted with that objectionable material. At the same time, I'm on TikTok. My kids could not believe that I'm on TikTok. That I don't use it to go sit down and doom scroll through TikTok and just see what all's on there. I use it specifically for sermon clips that will get the message of Jesus Christ out to people that I would never have another chance to reach. And we have, at RockFish Church, we have had people show up at our church, at our campuses, because they saw a video on TikTok. So it's a valid outreach space. The younger generation is now that they're never going to watch your whole sermon on YouTube just because you posted a sermon on YouTube. They might go back and watch it because they saw a short, a reel, a short video, usually 60 seconds or less, that caught their attention. And that's how we use these things. You use these shorts, these other mediums to point people back to the long form videos. So I know that sounds like I'm talking to church leaders. Guys, you can as a Christ follower, you can share your church's social media posts. You can share their sermons. You can use the digital space as well. You can even create your own videos. I know it may seem intimidating, but a lot of people are just them with their phone, and they're making it work. Again, I'm not trying to teach you how to be a social media influencer. But just to get the message out, you never know when somebody's going to be scrolling through and they're going to run across that video, and that's the message they needed to hear in that moment. God does things like that. And so we have to be willing to set up a space there, willing to put in the work to learn. Each platform has its own unique ways that it works, and they have their own algorithms. It takes a little work, I'm not going to lie. But with just a little bit of effort, you can really expand the reach of the kingdom. Again, we can be about one of two things. We can either be building our kingdom or we can be building his kingdom. And that's why if you look at my TikTok accounts, for example, all you're going to see is sermon clips or clips from our practical discipleship programs. That's because I'm not trying to build, and it's not all me, because I'm not trying to build my kingdom. It's all about building his kingdom. And so when we can use these things to support other people in their efforts in building the kingdom as well. Guys, these are incredible tools. I remember, I hadn't planned on sharing this, but I want to share it. I had a vision one time. I know it may be controversial to talk about having a vision, but I did. And in this vision, I was sitting on a bench, like a park bench. I was sitting on a park bench in heaven. I'm not claiming that this vision represents heaven, but it's just how I saw it. And the Apostle Peter walked up and sat down next to me. And if you have to understand that it had to be the Apostle Peter in this vision, because he's my favorite, because he's a hot mess just like me. He's the one that was ready to cut the guy's ear off and then denied Jesus just a little bit later. Back and forth, but then when he finally got it, he got it. But he sat down and he said, it must have been incredible to live in a time where you had all of the technology and all of the opportunities and avenues that you had to share the gospel. So tell me of your great exploits for our God. And I remember in that moment, my heart just sank, because you think about what the apostles did with what little they had, and what are we doing today with all that we have? Guys, we have opportunities like never before. We even have artificial intelligence chatbots that can help create our descriptions and our hashtags and help us get these things out. What are we doing with them? How would you answer Peter's question if he sat down next to you once you're in heaven and said, tell me of your great exploits with all of the opportunities, all of the technology, all of the capabilities that were at your fingertips? We have a responsibility to be good stewards of these. I encourage you and I challenge you, whether you're a Christ follower or a church leader Hopefully you're a cross follower if you're a church leader. I just realized how that sounded. But whether you're an individual or you're an organization, get into the digital space. Take advantage of it. And let's reach not just our communities, let's reach the world with the hope and help that's only found in Jesus. Guys, this wraps it up for season 3. I hope you got some value out of it. I hope you're challenged and encouraged at the same time to reach further than you ever have before. Again, like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you soon with season 4.